Good evening and welcome to Blueprint Explosive Exclusive. I'm Madhavdas Gopalkrishnan. Viewers, hours after India launched Operation Sindoor in the wee hours of the 7th of May, hitting terror dens in Pakistan, a group of so-called intellectuals held an online meeting, which was convened by a leader from the Socialist Party of India. The meeting had participants from both India and Pakistan. And after this meeting, 118 individuals, including activists, journalists, filmmakers, and civil society members, signed a petition calling for India and Pakistan to end hostilities. The petition, which appears more an attempt at giving a clean chit to Pakistan's terror, also objected to India's decision to keep the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. Let's take a look at what the petition states before we play reactions of some of its signatories. All right, so let's take a look at what it says. It says that it condemns every form of violent extremism and terrorism. It also goes on to say that they condemn targeting of civilians to achieve political ends. It goes on further to say that communal politics is a feeding frenzy on both sides. Must reject such divisive ideologies for sustainable peace. It also goes on to say that India and Pakistan must behave responsibly. Any war between the two nuclear nations would be disastrous, is what it says. Oppose attempt to weaponize shared natural resources in reference to Indus Waters Treaty, and say that suspending Indus Waters Treaty erodes the basic framework of legality and civility. That's the question coming in. Listen into the reactions.
Terrorism के लिए कोई और जिम्मेदार है, हाँ, वो आतंकवादी संगठन है। और ये ठीक है कि पाकिस्तान की मिलिट्री और जो वहाँ की इंटेलिजेंस है आईएसआई, वो शायद उनकी मदद करते हैं, लेकिन पाकिस्तान की जो चुनी हुई सरकार है और जो पाकिस्तान की आम जनता है, वो तो उनका समर्थन नहीं करती है, वो तो पीड़ित है। बल्कि भाई नदी की तो प्रकृति है, वो पानी बहेगा ही। उसको बांध बना के हम बिजली बनाने के लिए, सिंचाई करने के लिए रोकते हैं ज़रूर, लेकिन पानी को आप रोक नहीं सकते।
पानी रोकने के लिए भी जो चीज बनाई जाएगी उसमें 10 से 15 साल लग जाएगा। सिर्फ राजनीतिकरण के लिए ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं, जो फैक्ट है। हम चाहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान का पानी रोकिए, लेकिन जो इसके लिए जिम्मेदार हैं, आप उनको, जनता को ट्रस्ट करने से क्या मतलब बनता है, चाहे पाकिस्तान हो चाहे हिंदुस्तान हो।
सीजफायर हुआ, सीजफायर का वायलेशन हुआ, पहलगाम हमला किया, हमने जवाब दिया, उसके बाद उन्होंने हमला किया, पुंछ में भी हमारे नागरिक मारे गए। तो अगर हम कठोर कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं, उनका पानी रोक दे रहे हैं, उनको बूंद बूंद के, जैसा कहा जाता है कि उनकी एक बूंद भी पानी की तरफ नहीं जाएगी, तो इसमें क्या गलत है?
नहीं, एक बूंद भी नहीं जाएगी। मुद्दा तो वही करो, या तो आप एकदम से बंद कर दो। जो आप कह रहे हो डैम बंद हो चुके हैं, डैम पूरी तरीके से नहीं बंद किए गए हैं अभी।
But I am not going to advocate war between India and Pakistan at any time. I would like the two countries to be at peace so that the common people, people like you, people like me, can live a life of peace.
But when you just start saying that weaponization of Indus Water Treaty, like weaponization of resources, that means you are somewhere trying to peddle this Pakistan propaganda. You are carrying forward that Pakistani propaganda, because that's what actually Pakistan says.
Are you carrying on the propaganda of those who sell weapons to India and Pakistan? I'm asking you, who benefits when people go to war? Who benefits? Only those who sell weapons. China benefits, France benefits, America benefits, India does not benefit.
Yeah, this meeting was not on the 7th of May. Actually, on the 7th of May, we were in Pelgam. We had gone to Kashmir to meet people, and inspired by Atul Kulkarni, to tell you honestly, that we should reach out to the people of Kashmir, because they've come out openly against terror. The pony riders actually helped hundreds of those victims to escape from the terrorists. So we said we should reach out to the Kashmiris, and we went to the house of Adil Shah Hussain. And we essentially said that we have to look towards peace between India and Pakistan.
Now, the BJPs hit out at signatories of the petition and asserted that government of India will hit back hard at terror wherever it exists. Listen in.
Government will always act in interests of what is Indian citizens, and they will act against terror in any and every form. The government decided to suspend the Indus Waters Treaty. It has been welcomed across the country. It has been welcomed by all frontline people within Jammu and Kashmir, including the Chief Minister there. except with those who always take a Pakistan or a pro-Pakistan angle. And the so-called intellectuals who are joining hands with other Pakistani nationals to criticize this move or seek for its reversal, they themselves would have to reflect how the majority of the country would be viewing them.
Let's go across to Pradeep, who's joining us. Pradeep, this is very important because, you know, at a time when we are at war with a country such as Pakistan, a country that is sending terrorists across the border, while, of course, it's fine, anybody can demand peace, the larger question is questioning your own government in terms of, you know, the policy decision, the historic decision as far as putting the Indus Water Treaty in abeyance, or even comparing the situation in Pakistan to the situation in India. Now, this is what is extremely problematic because clearly on the one hand, you have a country that is the aggressor spreading violence, while not talking about it and equating India, which does not do anything of the sort, to Pakistan. It's a disservice to the nation at the end of the day.
Madhavan feels like asking this question to all these peace builders and this candlelight brigade because they call this decision of government of keeping this Indus Water Treaty in abeyance a weaponization of Indus water. But they can't see the weapons coming over to this side and the weapons being used against Indian public. They have not mentioned anywhere about the Pahalgam. So somewhere they are trying to promote Pakistani propaganda. They are trying to project their point of view, not realizing that in longer run this is only going to harm India and Indian interests. If you go through this petition also, you will not find anywhere they have mentioned about that what really happened. If today both the countries had been on the verge of war, it was because of the terror-related incidents in Pahalgam, where 26 tourists unarmed were killed on the basis of the religion because they were identified. But what they try to do is they try to put both India and Pakistan in same bracket. They try to hyphenate them, and it appears as if India is also terrorizing. Nowhere India is involved in any kind of terror-related activity because India's 3D formula is development, democracy and dialogue. India always believed in that, but dialogue with the people who really believe in peace and prosperity. But what has been the three-dimensional formula of the Pakistan? Death, destruction and devastation, where they had been using these terrorists as an asset. But our peace builders will not understand. Somewhere they fall into their trap and they become part of their program, and then after meeting they come out with such petition, they become the signatories to that. Because if you have to really identify the problem, you have to go for the proper diagnosis. If you go for the proper diagnosis, only then you can give a proper treatment. Without proper diagnosis, there will be no proper treatment. And here in this case, everybody understands, it is because of the terror-related incident that the problem between the two countries are there. That's why the Prime Minister said talks and terror can't go together.
All right, Pradeep, stay with us. Very, very important story indeed. And there are serious questions that are emerging. It's becoming a political issue as well. But stay with us. Let me quickly introduce our panelists as well who are joining us. With us is Charu Pragya, spokesperson of BJP. We have with us Sushant Sareen, fellow of ORF. Also with us is Dr. John Dayal, peace activist. Tausif Ahmed Khan is a lawyer and a political analyst. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us this evening. Dr. John Dayal, simple question that comes out of this particular petition. You know, at a time where the government has taken a decision that the Indus Water Treaty, which the government believes is extremely lopsided and benefits Pakistan, if it has taken a decision to put that in abeyance, to a country which is spreading terror into India repeatedly, which is something that nobody can deny, what is wrong with that premise? Of course, anybody can appeal for peace. But this is on the day that India has conducted those strikes on terror camps. Raises some very serious questions, sir. Why we can't be united in a fight against terror?
I think you've got the wrong man. I signed an earlier petition which was also for peace and which was, I think, before the strike. But that's beside the point. I'm entirely a peacenik. I call for peace, not war. And even the second petition, I agree with its objectives and its statement. Let me put my point across. Nobody says do not punish those guilty of killing civilians. Nobody says that. Punish them, absolutely identify them, punish them. We do not want a conflagration of war between two neighboring nations, between whom the border is not hundreds of thousands of kilometers up. It is just 1 inch across. Pakistan is a neighbor. And then both of us are nuclearly armed. We apprehend that things can go out of hand, passions can go out of hand, moods can go out of hand, and therefore you must err on the side of caution.
So, Dr. John Dayal, if there are terrorists being sent across the border, it is your position that we should grin and bear it. We should see the blood of innocents being spilled on our side of the border and just turn the other cheek. That's what you want.
It is not my position at all. I would like to tell you that at the height of the bombings in Vietnam and the US were continuing peace talks.
No, what should the government have done? What should the government of India have done? We should have not destroyed the terror camps? Should we have not withdrawn the Indus Waters Treaty? Yes or no? You're going around in circles, sir. You're not answering direct questions.
No. You're not asking questions. You're being rhetorical.
Sir, answer the question. Should the Indus Waters Treaty have been suspended or not?
Of terrorists.
I'm asking you a question. Should the Indus Waters Treaty have been suspended or not? Take a position.
I'm not sure if it will restore.
You're not sure. You're not sure, but something has to be done to break the status quo. That's the exact point. In this particular petition specifically objects against weaponization of natural resources, Sushant Sareen, and that's where things become problematic, because we as a country are so divided. I mean, we're a democracy, all that is fine. People can appeal for peace, that's also fine. But at a point of time where the government has taken a decision, where all political parties have come together and, they have said that they are with the government on whatever decisions are taken, here you have a group of people who say that IWT being suspended is weaponization of natural resources. Why should we have such a lopsided treaty in the first place? And why should we be providing something to Pakistan which believes in aggression, which believes in spilling the blood of Indians? Sushant.
So Madhav, I will question you when you say this country is very divided. These kind of petitions come from the usual suspects who collectively cannot win a resident welfare association election and individually cannot win an election even in their own houses. Okay, so forget about their relevance or the lack of it. So forget about these guys. Secondly, most of them, and I disagree with what Pradeep said, that they don't realize what they were doing, what they were signing, what are the implications. They very much realize they are after an agenda, and their agenda is not an agenda where they want to defend India's interests and India's people. They want to protect the people from the scourge of terrorism that Pakistan has been visiting upon us for decades now. Now, Mr. John Dayal very glibly says that, look, I am not against punishing terrorists, but he does not answer that the terrorists are living under the patronage and protection of the Pakistani state, which refuses to act against them. It is not that we have not spoken to the Pakistani state. It is not that we have not had peace talks with them. It is not that we have not had dialogue with them. We have had plenty of things, including joint anti-terror mechanisms and what have you. What has been the result of it? In the joint anti-terror mechanism, and Madam, please allow me a minute or so. We used to give them information on particular terrorists. These guys would take that information, ask the terrorists to disappear, something they did also with the Americans, and then tell us that that terrorist is not there. Now, if you are going to play these games, what is the choice left before us except to attack the terrorists inside Pakistan the way we have done? So we've done that. Then another one of these guys in the clips you showed, some Pandey fellow, he comes out and very glibly says, but look, these are people who are living under the yoke of the Pakistan army. Incidentally, that Pakistan army chief has now been made field marshal today.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So they are living under the yoke of the Pakistan army.
Yeah.
And the elected government, which elected government? Ask this Pandey fellow, who's completely brainless, which elected government is there in Pakistan? Which election has been held in Pakistan which has actually elected a government which is of the people? Has he done any survey? Is there any metric, any empirical data to say that the Pakistanis are overflowing with the love for India? Now, it's only these usual suspects, and most of the Pakistanis in this list are the intellectual honey trap, as I call them, who try and seduce these Indians, the gullible ones, that no, we are all very nice, friendly, we all want peace. They do not call the shots on a single damn thing in Pakistan. Not a damn thing. So why should you even give these people any coverage whatsoever? Because they are so irrelevant.
Well, certainly not the people in Pakistan, but those in India certainly who are coming out with this controversial position have to be. Yeah, but let me just put out that news that you broke. In fact, we were just about to put out that information. It is Asif Munir who has now, in fact, been promoted to Field Marshal. So look at the irony over here. Here you have people in India who are saying, why are we looking at putting the IWT in abeyance? It's a peace-loving country. Things are similar in India and Pakistan. And there you have the aggressor, the army chief, who in fact made that hateful speech in the run-up to the attack in Pahalgam, who's now been promoted to Field Marshal. Tausif Khan, this must be the only case of a person or a general who's lost a war and has been promoted to Field Marshal. The irony of that apart, why is there this overwhelming love for people there, you know, when they are spreading love, when they are spreading terror and not love? Please unmute yourself and speak, sir.
Madhav, the people of Pakistan must be, must come out more strongly against the terrorism which has roots in the soil of Pakistan. First of all, that is what they should do. Now, so far India is concerned, and so far the India's stand is concerned, Indian government was absolutely right in revoking the Indus Valley Treaty to break the status quo. But now the question is on the continuity of it. Indian government was absolutely right in striking the terrorist camps. Now the question is whether this should turn into a full-scale war. Now, we have heard the foreign minister himself telling to the media that the Indian government informed Pakistan that we were going to strike terrorist camp inside Pakistan. Why this information was shared with Pakistan? So that to make our stand clear that we are not the aggressor. India has never been the aggressor. We are the victim of terrorism, and therefore we have to take what we had to. We had to strike where we had to, and therefore we made it clear that we are not targeting the Pakistani military installations, and that is admitted by the foreign minister. Now the question is, this call for peace, whether I support it, whether the people of India and people of Pakistan support it. Yes, everyone wants to the philosophy of live and let live. If you all believe in the philosophy of live and let live, we don't want war. But if war is necessary, we have to.
What the government, what the DGMO did was a matter of procedure. It's not happened for the first time, and it's not the first war in the country where a DGMO customarily informs the other side of what their targets were and what their targets weren't. Nevertheless, we have still gone ahead and attacked several of the Air Force bases. And we bring in Charu. Before I bring in, I see Sushant's hand also. I want to very quickly bring in Charu on this. Charu, why did we inform that we are targeting only terror camps and not military bases? Who is it that's suing for peace and who is it that doesn't want war? Many questions that Tausif appears to have, at least. Your response to that, Charu.
Madhav, I want to answer a lot of things, but let me first begin by reminding Tausif that everybody in Pakistan knew India is going to strike. Our Prime Minister spoke loudly, boldly, clearly when he said we will strike in the heart of Pakistan, on the heart of terror, and we will chase these terrorists and their handlers to the end of the earth. So sorry, if you're going to go on and talk about warnings, the warnings went all the way since the very beginning. Let's not get into that because that has been clarified many a times. Here the discussion is about a so-called peace group, Madhav, so-called peace group. People who are signing this petition are actually warmongers and hate mongers themselves. They have a very clear anti-Hindu, anti-Hindutva stand. One of them actually has done it repeatedly. And you want to go back to the point of discussing the Indus Waters Treaty again. I have some simple things to say. Point number one, I don't know if India was extremely stupid or extremely generous in giving 80% of its waters to Pakistan. Now, even if we were to believe that India was 80%, it was generous and not extremely stupid, can any treaty go on for eternity when it is not being honored? Even like the most basic things of peaceful coexistence is not being honored by a state like Pakistan. What have we got in return for giving them 80% of our water? We have got cross-border terrorism, we've got proxy wars, we've got constant hostility. In every possible way, India has seen that this so-called generosity has only harmed us. Today, there are issues of climate change. Our states stand to gain if we have extra water. We have a rising population. Why should we not do
on IWT? Actually, Tausif has also clarified his position. But the problem, Tausif, is this. Do you agree with this petition when it equates the situation in Pakistan with the situation here in India? Because clearly the situation is very different. We are not a country that's spreading terror unlike Pakistan, sir. So prima facie, as a patriotic Indian, one would assume that all Indians should object to this kind of language or this kind of formulation or articulation even. Tausif?
No, it's a citizens initiative. I respect that. You see, one of the objective of Indian government is also to keep the two enemy states of India from coming close. That is China and Pakistan coming close. Now, as a result of the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, what we have seen is that
Indus Waters Treaty,
China is helping Pakistan build this another dam. They are coming close. So I'm not suggesting...
Sir, I asked you a pointed question about whether you object to the comparison of situation in India and Pakistan. You have not responded to that. Tausif,
sorry, what was that?
Direct question. Comparison of the situation in India and Pakistan. Have you read the petition? Do you agree with that?
No, I have not read the petition at length. But there can't be any.
It's a couple of paragraphs, sir. It's not such a long petition. What are we here debating?
India has always been the victim of terrorist attack emanating from Pakistan.
So denounce the petition, sir, which compares the two countries. Why didn't you come out and openly denounce it? Why didn't you say it's wrong? You don't agree with them on IWT. You don't agree with them on the comparison between India and Pakistan. Then come on and say the petition is wrong.
Madhav, you and I don't have to necessarily agree or disagree with the initiative by the citizen. I will support whatever the government of India says, whatever stand it takes. Today, if government decides to nuke Pakistan,
so let's get John Dayal in. John Dayal, here you have Tausif Ahmed Khan, who is in fact normally against what the government says. Even he doesn't agree with your petition. What do you have to say, sir?
He's a citizen of India. He has a right not to agree with him. Much as a citizen of India, I have a right not to agree with a word of what you or some of the other people here say.
But the whole point is this, then who is this petition for? And you know, this kind of petition is of the voice of such an obscure minority that many are wondering why, in fact, at a time of crisis like this, you know, such voices rise and they only serve a certain purpose. Charu Pragya wants to respond to you on that. Charu Pragya.
Madhav, the simple point here is everybody wants to talk about terrorism but not talk about Pakistan in the same breath. We need to please stop doing that. What Operation Sindoor has taught the world is that terrorists leave their time on earth wrapped in Pakistani flags now. Pakistani generals and army officers attend their funerals. So please stop drawing a distinction, first of all, between Pakistan and terrorism. And anybody who's saying, oh, we are against terrorism, but we are in favor of Pakistan, please go tell these lies to someone else because the people of India are not falling for it.
Quick word from Sushant. Sushant, you wanted to comment? Yes.
No, I wanted to comment on something. I agreed with much of what Tausif said. But, you know, this constant repeating this lie over and over again that we informed the Pakistanis. Yes, we informed the Pakistanis when we say at the start of the operation that the initial strikes were carried out and immediately the Pakistanis were informed of what we had done and why we had done what we had done. Now, for them to conflate that or confuse that with saying that we gave them prior information, no prior information was given. That is one part of it. Second, Tausif is wrong on this whole water question about the Chinese helping the Pakistanis build a dam. They might be helping them build a dam downstream. They're not helping them build a dam in the Chinese occupied Tibet. They're not helping them build a dam out there. Third, there is this usual canard that if India does something with Pakistan on the water, then the Chinese could do it to us. They're already doing it. They haven't stopped. They're continuing to build their dams. Our protestations have fallen on deaf ears. There's not much damage they can do probably because 80% of the water in those rivers come from our own, the watershed areas within India. But the Chinese have been quite bloody-minded about it. So for anybody to think that, you know, any action we take against Pakistan will drive Pakistan closer to the Chinese is living in cloud cuckoo land. The Chinese and Pakistanis are already very close. There's nothing anybody else can do about it. So what are people cribbing about? And finally, on this whole fringe of the fringe, yes, and I agree with one of the rare occasions that I agree with Mr. John Dayal. It's a free country. They have the right to issue whatever, rubbish they want to issue as pleas or whatever. It is their right. It is their democratic right to do it. And I personally think that we do disservice by even amplifying what these guys are saying, because I don't think even their family members read what they write.
Well, it's important. It's important to expose all points of view. It's a democratic country, as you rightly said. Everyone has a right to put out petitions. But if that petition is so drastically inimical to the position of India of what's in national interest, absolutely no harm in discussing that in the public domain as well. We'll have to leave it there. Charu Pragya, Sushant Sareen, John Dayal, as well as Tausif Khan, thank you so much for joining us.